Popcorn Junkies here. A little bit late with this review. Yeah. We apologise. We loved the trailers. We loved the first film, SIcario.
Yeah, why has it taken us so long?
It's taken us about 2 or 3 weeks, just busy schedules.
Yeah.
So SIcario, Day of the Soldado, is the follow-up to SIcario, starring Benicio Del Toro, Josh Brolin, my man, and...
Dad just kept commenting on his Crocs and his chin the whole time.
What were you going to say?
He turned over to me and he goes, look, his Crocs. I'm like...
He plays a badass with Crocs. I mean, you've got to admire a man with a chin like Josh's. And he clearly elects to wear Crocs to show strength and menace.
I swear he wears Crocs once.
He wore Crocs in the first film. He's the Croc man. He makes Crocs masculine. And he's even made me order some on Amazon tonight. Anyway, so SIcario, Day of the Soldado is the follow-up to SIcario, the first film. I wasn't entirely certain we needed a second SIcario, were you?
No, I was a bit worried, to be honest, because I was thinking, it just didn't seem like the sort of film that would carry on to a second one, do you know what I mean? No. It felt like a one-off.
Felt like it was all done. We'd had Emily Blunt and...
So I was worried.
Yeah, I was worried.
And I don't think the trailers were all that good.
No, they made it look like it was just going to be a sort of procedural shoot-up.
Yes.
So this film starts with them intercepting some Mexicans, sadly crossing the border into America.
Yeah.
And in intercepting them, they uncover the fact that Islamist terrorists are also being smuggled across the border. And we have a scene that I thought was such an arresting, sort of very close to the opening scene of a suicide bombing event that occurs.
The supermarket.
I mean, I was truly staggered by how real that was.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly challenging moment. And in a weird way, that scene for me was the film throwing its gauntlet down and saying, you know, we're not afraid of going towards some difficult stuff here.
Yeah, yeah.
And so consequently, the government then become involved, and the American government wants to find a way of being able to infiltrate the cartel system in Mexico without being obvious.
Yeah.
So how can we start a war between the cartels so that they take each other out without it obviously being the Americans doing it? So they bring in Josh Brolin, and he quite cleverly says, well, what you need to do, you can get a king to start a war if you take his prince.
Yes.
In this case,
his daughter.
A princess. Now tell us what you thought. How did we first get introduced to the daughter?
In a massive girl fight in school.
We love girl fights.
We do. Dad was telling me how much room they need to take.
Yeah, they need huge perimeters, girl fights, because for some reason hands and limbs go out madly.
It's because they grab each other.
Yeah, it always ends up being a fight like that where they never really look at each other. And I always remember at school, the girl fights were really petrifying.
Yeah, that one was quite extreme.
Well, and imagine having a girl fight with the daughter of the leading cartel in Mexico.
Yeah, I just want to do it. But yeah, it was a good character introduction.
Yeah, so what did you make of her? You really liked her?
I thought she was a really good actress.
She was played by Isabella Rees. No, Isabella Moner.
I thought it was really clever the way they kept it secret from her, them kidnapping her.
It was clever, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought it was a really good film because it was quite a complicated storyline, and they made it really understandable. Like, I understood what was going on the whole time.
Yeah.
I wasn't at any moment like, what?
Yeah. What I quite liked was the way in which Benicio Del Toro is such a frightening prospect on screen, but as you said...
Oh yeah, his face can look really, really kind and beautiful, or it can look really, really scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want the death stare from Benicio.
You do not want the death stare from Benicio Del Toro. And there's one particular scene that's in the trailer where he takes great relish in shooting a particular lawyer. Yeah.
Adios.
But what I thought was sweet was he ends up being the chaperone or the carer, for want of a better expression, of the daughter of the cartel, Isabella.
Which we were saying he kind of does with Emily Blunt.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just, or no.
I think Benicio Del Toro really held that emotional story. So it doesn't at any point just become a sort of gratuitous drug cartel film where you don't really care for anyone and it's just gore. What did you think of Josh Brolin in this one?
I think it was really good because obviously the first scene that he appears in is doing something quite brutal.
Yes.
So he appears, So
with his Crocs.
So he appears to just be quite, I don't want to say tough. Evil, but quite, a tough man. But I thought, with certain sentimental bits within the film, he was really good at showing that kind of
connection,
like he's upset but not openly showing that he's upset. It's like pouring with tears, but kind of like, that's okay.
Yeah, you're right. I think he navigated the very difficult process of having to observe what his orders were and then feel the emotions when the orders weren't quite the right orders he would have followed. And then, of course, there's his kinship with Benicio that is put under some stress and duress, isn't it, within the film? And I think that's quite nice to watch. It's nice to watch men playing men, manly men, playing emotional men. Yeah. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This film's been dedicated to the composer who sadly died of the first film.
Oh, I know.
And I noticed
they used lots of the music.
They did. They used lots of his music, but I thought the soundtrack was up to scratch. I thought some of the sequences were great. I thought the very sort of well advertised scene where they're driving through the sort of desert essentially, and then they come under attack. That was brilliantly done, wasn't it? I mean, the sense of menace.
And the girl Isabella, the young girl, she was amazing in that scene.
Yeah.
That kind of really, that child kind of. A child being scared.
Yeah, shell-shocked. And it was a very clever moment where all sorts of shit's kicking off around them. And they hold the camera just on her. Don't they?
Oh, yeah.
So you're hearing all this sort of carnage
so it's like
going
her
on.
POV.
Yeah. And some really nice pinch points as well, where there's a scene with Benicio and the girl where they're on a bus and they're trying to get over a border.
Yeah.
And it starts to run against Benicio, and you're sort of, you've got all the right amount of tension. So if you're wanting a really good yard, I mean, I was left feeling as it drew to a close that what they should do with this film series is turn it into a Netflix series, like Narcos.
I mean, it really could be a series.
It really could be, couldn't it? Pretty gruesome injury at some point without giving it away too much.
Yes. For a moment there I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty horrendous. So if you're a tall anti-gore and blood, as Nadia is, I would fully recommend you perhaps turn your eyes away in the last reel of this film.
Yeah.
For saying it was a sequel, it lacked Emily Blunt. I didn't feel we missed her particularly much. I felt Isabella.
No, I thought it carried on well without her.
And I thought Isabella did a good job of replacing her sort of that role. And I thought Josh Brolin, as ever, was just sublime.
Here we go.
There was one scene where he was loading his gun with ammunition, and I leant over to Maddie and I said, I want arms like his.
Oh yeah, that was so weird.
Not on me. I want arms like his to hold me.
Dad, stop.
I do.
It's really getting...
It's a fact.
It wouldn't be weird if you were like a single man, but you're like not
a married
single
man with
and
children.
You have children. Elijah Rodriguez, who played like the young boy within the film, he was kind of like a second story within the
he's a
movie.
critical component, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. And you kind of just see his sort of, well, I guess everyday sort of life, just him basically walking around and stuff. But you just know the whole time that it's just not going to end up well for him. We're just like, this just doesn't seem right. Why are we always focusing on this boy?
Yeah.
And I thought he was a really good actor. He didn't really do much. Like, he didn't really say anything. He did a lot of like, but I thought he was really good.
There's a very clever bit at the beginning of the film where Josh Brolin explains how human trafficking has replaced drug trafficking. For this one simple financial reason, that it doesn't matter if you fail to get the humans across the border, they'll pay the same amount of money to try again.
There was also that really interesting part where these people get across the river, so across the border, and the person that's basically picking up the leader of them to go back to camp is a white American woman with a baby in the back of the car. And like when the person gets into the car, you're like, hang on, is this a trick or something? You know, Dad was saying you'll find that a lot of like drug dealers will have babies in their car because they look less suspicious. Yeah, they're looking for any way to kind of fan away suspicion. In my sum up, I'd like to say I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I thought this was a brilliant movie. I'd watch it again. I feel like if we rewatched the first one, we'd say that this might be better. Possibly, that does happen sometimes. So I'm going to give this a great big 7.5 out of 10. Really? I thought you would have given it more than that. But for Josh Brolin's arms and his chin, 10. I'm going to give it 8.5. Yeah. I was really, really surprised. Obviously, I wasn't too impressed with the trailer, and I wasn't expecting it to be great because the first one was so brilliant and it just didn't seem like the type of film that could be made again. But I was really, really surprised. I thought all the actors in it were really, really good. Right down to like the man that was paying the young boy to do the
he was brilliant. He was really good. Yeah. Even like actors that were just in the background not saying anything. And I always love like the scenes in which they're set, it's like the deserts and everything, and their cars and them crossing the border. Benicio Del Toro's
insanely amazing face.
It's a remarkable face. You can just look at it for hours. I mean, I can literally look at it for hours.
Yeah.
But does anyone else think he looks a bit like Leonardo DiCaprio around
They
the
do have
eyes?
the same eyes.
Yeah. That's
And those
what's
eyebrows that go,
yeah.
I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Win! It's a goodie. It's a goodie. In fact, I'm going to revise my score. I'm going to give it 8.5.
Yes.
And I'm going to give Josh Brolin's chin and biceps 10.5.
Yeah. Adios.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.